Welcome to Buyer's Remorse. I'm Justin. Like, what the fuck? That wasn't even put on. That was serious. Like, oh my god, I'm all levels of stupid.
Buyer's Remorse.
Hello and welcome to Buyer's Remorse. I'm Justin.
I'm Darren.
In this podcast, we take turns subjecting each other to games we already own. And for this episode, I have picked for Darren
a Spectrum classic called Where Time Stood Still that I never played when I was a kid. And I played a lot of Spectrum games.
Didn't get this magazine with this disc or whatever.
I did not get this cassette tape taped to the side of the sleeve cover.
However, I do believe this is yet another from the Ocean Bundle.
I'm so glad we're getting through these because soon there's going to be none left to go through, man. It's just going to be done. Like, I'm never buying another Ocean's Bundle. Never.
How many games did they make total? I'm wondering if there's an Oceans 2 ready to come out.
Oh, you mean how many bundles have they made for Steam?
Well, are there more games to be bundled? I mean, how many games are there total? Because, I mean, if they're making money off of stuff that they already have, more bundles could be on the way.
Because I think this is called Ocean Bundle 2. Like,
is it? Is there another Ocean Bundle I've missed out on?
I haven't bought it. That's for sure. I'm not buying another one because then I'll buy it on another account and keep it hidden from you.
Guess what you're getting for your birthday?
Yeah, there is another bundle, I think. But as far as Ocean made games, God, there's thousands of them. Like back in the day, Ocean were they were the biggest publisher for like Commodore, Spectrum, Amstrad games. They published everything and anything that they could get their hands on.
All right, so Where Time Stood Still, are there dinosaurs?
No.
Oh, that's a little disappointing. The logo made me think of Land of the Lost.
Well, that's the thing.
Did you ever watch that?
No.
No? Oh, okay.
Is that the cartoon dinosaur thing?
No, it was live action.
Oh.
But there were dinosaurs.
Even better. And now I've got to watch that.
You really do. It's amazing. They did a reboot movie, I think, with Will Ferrell, but I haven't seen that one yet. But the classic show was very classic, especially in the poor special effects. But it was a weird one where I think it was made, I could be very wrong about this, I think it was made in the 70s, but it seemed to keep coming back. Like in the 80s, it came back a couple of times. I think they even brought it back once in the 90s before they stopped showing Saturday morning cartoons.
Okay.
There's something about this one that is semi-timeless and probably looked just as bad when it was made as we would look at it now, and yet still has something that kids would want to see, I guess.
You made me all sad now. Whatever happened to Saturday morning cartoons? You remember, waking up at 7 a.m.? You could never wake up that early on a school day, but you could always wake up that early on a Saturday.
I would wake up before that. I would wake up before broadcasting had even started. So it was wake up.
Cereal?
Well, no, because it may be too early yet. Turn on the TV. Mm-hmm. Is there anything on? Because this was back in the days, as I was a kid, this is how old I am, pre-cable, where there weren't things 24 hours a day, where we only had the few channels we could pick up on our antenna. And there would just be the
test
colored
screen?
bark.
Yeah.
So that test screen, if that wasn't on after that, where I came from, there would be some sort of farming report.
Okay.
And then at about 7:30, we would get Rocky and Bullwinkle, which wasn't new. It was just old and something to fill the time for people like me who woke up way early. And then 8 a.m. to 12 a.m., it was Cartoon Central, and I loved that. I think what happened to it was we got...
YouTube?
No, long before that.
Oh, really?
We got Cartoon Network. We got...
the 24-hour cartoon channels. Yeah.
We got the Disney Channel, which showed a lot of cartoons as well. I think once people had access to 24-hour cartoons, then the networks decided they didn't need to anymore. Fox was the longest holdout. They tried to reboot Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles again and a few other things. But yeah, sadly, that was something that disappeared because that was my thing for a very long time.
Yeah, me too. I remember I grew up in the Middle East, but I remember being in first grade in the UK, primary one, and yeah, waking up at the crack of dawn and just going into the kitchen, getting a bowl of cereal, and yeah, my parents are fast asleep. They must have been like, God bless Saturday morning cartoons, man, because that was their babysitter for me. Good times. Can you tell that I don't want to talk about this game?
Oh, is that what this is? You're just trying to distract. I mean, obviously talking about old cartoons is a way to get me here, but
yeah.
Where time stood still. What is this game then?
Okay.
If it's not about dinosaurs, disappointingly.
Yeah, I mean, there is a pterodactyl.
Just one.
That flies over the screen at some point in the game, I think.
Okay.
But
you don't get to be the pterodactyl.
No, you don't get any of that. But, okay, so basically, I started the game up, and with all these games, like The Great Escape that you played,
yeah,
the keys are all over the place. I don't know what the hell I'm doing in this game. It's one of those isometric kind of weird camera angle games where there's no north. It's like northeast, southwest,
right?
Northwest, southeast.
Were you meant to play with the number keypad?
I don't know what I played. I think it was the arrow keys, but up is not up. Up is northeast, and left is northwest. Right. Down is the other one. So it's like, yeah, if you imagine your arrow keys tilted at an angle, that's the way that it goes. Right.
Great Escape is that way, but I found out if you actually used your number pad, it was actually designed so there was an up, down, left, right.
Okay.
But it was kind of awkward because nobody else walked in that way.
Yeah. But yeah, these Ocean bundles, man, they're terrible. They're just straight up, flat out bad ports of these games.
Did you have to look up controls and how to do everything?
Yeah, because honestly, this looks like it. Here's the thing, like, when you look up the reviews of this game, which we'll get into later on, like, when I start really talking about it, but the reviews are like, this is the best game ever. They gave this a 2-page spread on, like, the old school Spectrum magazines. Like, this is a 98% blockbuster title. So
I picked you a winner. That's a shame. I was really hoping to give you something challenging.
But yeah, that was back in the day when, you know, your competition was something like Jet Set Willy or Manic Miner. Actually, no, I can't say that because those games are absolutely awesome. But
he says, when is the last time you played Jet Set Willy?
Jet Set Willy, probably 25 years ago.
Right.
So yeah. Rose-tinted glasses right there. I'd love to play that again. But yeah, these ports...
add it to your library.
Yeah. If they remade Jet Set Willy, I'd be all over it. And I'd play it for about 5 minutes ago. That's shit. But this company, that whoever makes these games, they're really doing, like, they're basically taking the original, like, DOSBox port and just putting it onto Steam. They're not changing anything, you know. So they're charging $10 for these games as well. They're really expensive. Like, if you don't buy the bundle.
Yeah, if you don't buy the bundle. If you do buy the bundle, it was ridiculously cheap.
Yeah. But it's like selling these at $10 a piece is a crime.
I think this is one of those times where they do that so that they can put it at 90% off during sales.
Sure, sell it for $1. Yeah, they have ported one of my favorite games that I remember from Spectrum called Head Over Heels. I'm really thinking of buying that at some point. So that's definitely going to be your next buyer's remorse for me.
Don't pay $10 for it, though.
I'm not going to pay $10 for it. Definitely not. So basically, you are in this, your plane has crashed. You're in the middle of, I don't know where, the Amazon jungle, who knows. Everything is the same color. There's 3 colors on the screen, so things are green.
What 3 colors? Green, red, and yellow?
Yeah.
Okay, basically. Great Escape colors. Okay.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, so I had to look up the plot from Wikipedia. Because I had no idea.
That's nostalgia, if anything. Having to get the plot from the book that comes with the game.
Yeah. So here's the plot from Wikipedia, obviously paraphrased. A plane crashes in the Himalayas. To the player's horror, it is inhabited with dinosaurs. You know, spoilers, there are no dinosaurs there.
No, there's one. You said pterodactyl that occasionally
soars overhead. So to the player's horror, is inhabited with dinosaurs and tribes. It's a kind of resource management game where you have to feed your guys or they die.
Wait, so you're more than one person?
You control 4 or 5, I don't remember, 4 or 5 characters, right? So you've got all these different guys when you control one of them, you control that person. You can give commands to them to go to that place. You can give commands to them to follow you. You can give commands to them to stay here. But the AI is just absolute. From what we've become accustomed to today, like the AI is just so dumb. They'll walk off cliffs. They'll get in your way in like places where you can only travel through like a corridor. They'll just stand in front of you and they won't get out of the way. But this game was made in like 1988. So I understand the reviews. This was probably really, kind of awesome at the time.
Yeah, but these Steam reviews are not from 1988. What reviews are you looking at?
Oh, I was looking at like the old like archives of Spectrum, like your Sinclair magazines.
All right, that makes I don't even know what that is, but that makes much more sense then. Okay.
Yeah. So like Spectrum users were all over it. So yeah, you can check out those reviews.
All right, but I still don't understand, what is this game? So
basically, you crash land and then you go.
Do you get to see that?
No, God, no. There's no cutscenes in this.
Do you actually get to see a plane?
There is a plane, and you can get onto the plane and pick up an item from it. So you can get onto the plane, and then you've got this land that you've got to walk around, like the Great Escape kind of thing. Like there's just nothing around you. Just I'll walk off in this direction until I hit a wall, and I'll hug the wall around until I find something else. You find a bridge eventually that leads you into another section of the map. I never found any of these tribes that they were talking about.
Well, you didn't find the dinosaurs either. Maybe you have to play for longer than an hour.
Oh, no, that's not going to happen. But again, awesome music. These games, they all, and I don't know if that's just me thinking like, I like chiptune stuff, but the music for these games, like, obviously they knew we've got to keep them hooked. We've got to give them something. Like, we're not giving them graphics. We're certainly not giving them story. Like, or maybe they did think that. Maybe they thought this is like a top tier AAA game back in the day, and this was just music that accompanied an awesome game. Yeah. That's all it has going for it. It reminds me of like the old. Did you ever play as far back as you can remember? Can you remember like the old Robocop games or game?
Yeah, from Data Eastman, I think.
Yes. Can you remember that music from that?
Of course I can, because I played the Batman game from the same company.
Exactly. Yeah.
And never quite finished it. Got to the Joker at the end, but I don't think I was ever actually able to defeat the Joker. And it was a good kind of, even at my best, I think 3 hours to get to that point. So yeah, I heard that music a lot. Yeah. So then there you go. Who knows? It's maybe even the same guy. I don't know. But yeah, it's got a very Robocop Batman kind of feel to it. So I got to 27 minutes. And I just didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't really take it anymore. I was like, why can't you just give me something fucking cool to play? Justin? How many minutes?
27 minutes.
Okay, so you're only about halfway in. Halfway in,
and I'm already giving up. It's like, because I don't know what to do. Basically, it's like, there's no... And I guess I can't complain about this because I like this, but there's no hand holding. So there's no, like, objective, get to this point, pick up the med kit and do this and bring it back to this guy. There's nothing. It's just like, here you are. You deal with it.
At least you didn't sit in a detention room for
right, yeah.
30 minutes.
Hang on. Wait a minute, what's this? Okay.
Time for another episode of Darren tries to figure out his own notes.
Yeah, I need to just like write in one direction.
Or one color? Or are you sure this is even the same review?
What did I write this for? Cancel all plans for... Okay, let me just read this out. Cancel all... Oh, yeah. This is the review. This is the review from one of the Spectrum magazines, right? This is how all over this game they were, right? This is verbatim. Cancel all plans for a fortnight. Dash down to the shop. Pick up a copy of Where Time Stood Still. Buy a 128K Spectrum if you haven't already got one. Lock yourself in a room and prepare to play the most exciting game you've ever seen on the Spectrum.
Well, it doesn't bode well for the other games on the Spectrum.
Like, wow. This was £8 on release as well. £8. Like, I used to get my Spectrum tapes out of the library for free, and at most I would pay £2. There's like $1.99 tier of games and $2.99 tier of games. I don't think... As time went on, they moved into these like cardboard boxes, more like Nintendo style, bigger boxes style, where it was still a single cassette that you were getting in, but it wasn't like the traditional flip top cassettes where the Spectrum things came in. It was like a cassette inside a cardboard box. It was about the size of half a sheet of A4 maybe. like Chase HQ. I remember buying that and stuff. But it was a bigger box with nice cover art and a nicer instruction manual, I guess, is what you were really paying for. And they were about, maybe £10, maybe. But yeah, this was £8 on release in 1988. So 8 in 88. Maybe some kind of sign. But
could you dub these tapes over?
You could if you put sellotape on the top. The tabs had been poked out of them. So you couldn't record over them by accident. You would have to...
No, I mean... You got it out of the library. Could you copy it too?
Oh, could I copy it? Yeah. I copied all of them. Yeah. Piracy was a huge thing back in the day, and that's part of the.
Epic level piracy of getting out of the library and making a copy.
Hey man, we were rebels back then. But no, but that's one of the reasons why Spectrum and Commodore were so successful. It wasn't because.
This game was the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah, it's like people. No, they almost encouraged piracy because they wanted to spread out these games as far and wide as they could, and the code that they wrote these on, the basic code. I remember buying these magazines and it was all about here's how you can code your own stuff, and like a lot of these games were made by kids who were just like this code was so accessible to them that they could literally write these in their parents' basement, which is what they did, and they would come out with these good games for the time or interesting things. Or they'd find new ways to program things in BASIC, and then move into like machine code. And yeah, it was an interesting time where technology was like exploding at that point, and everyone was getting into it, and everyone was copying games, and everyone was. There's some points even when the game loaded, you could just like press a key and you could hack into it, and you could just see all the code that they'd done, and you could change whatever you wanted. You'd be like, oh, I'll change that. I'll change. I don't want that sword to be there. I'll make it into a slice of pizza. And also, I want to go back. I want to retcon something. This
retcon in this episode?
Yeah.
Or?
This part here where I said the music is awesome.
Yes.
That was from Ball Lab. That's not from this one. I got to turn the page backwards. So
well, it's yours to edit, so have fun with that.
Yeah. I've actually said there are no sound effects in this game, and there's no music at all. So
the music is awesome. It doesn't exist.
So if you're listening, go back and listen to the episode with Ball Lab. That's got the awesome music in it. And yeah, this is going to be a fucking nightmare to edit now. Okay. But yeah, so basically I ran around this area, and because it's isometric and they're trying to do this 3D thing, you can't really tell what's flat and what's vertical and what's a pit. You know what I mean? So
wait, do you have to jump over pits or something?
No, you don't. But there's pits in the middle of you'll be walking, and then you'll be walking, and then you'll be like, oh, this is a cliff. But this is like the bottom of the cliff, And so you'll walk into it, and then you'll stop. But the same shading, the same texture, the same everything in another part of the game is actually a pit, but it looks like a cliff. So you walk towards it, and then you just fall into it, and like, oh, great, I'm dead. And so basically, I ran around and fell off a lot of cliffs. And every time you die, then you get to play another member of the team. And then they die, and then they die, and then they die, and then game over. And the object of the game is to keep everyone alive. There's like an inventory system where you can pick up items, you can give them to people. People need food, people need water, people need whatever.
Do you find food along the way?
I found one or two things.
Did you find these tribes of people that
Nope,
you're supposed to?
Never find anything. You do have, the pilot of the plane has a gun, and so I shot a few people.
What, your people?
Yeah, because there's no one else to shoot. So it was...
Well, that must have made the food last longer. But is it, in this game, a fail immediately if somebody dies?
Well, that's the thing. I ran around, and even when everyone dies, the game just doesn't seem to end. It just seems to keep going. And so... Well,
that was the Great Escape. If you lose, the game just takes over and you have no power anymore.
Right. And that was really similar to this. It's like, there was no end. So I had to actually, once everyone was dead, I had to, Alt-Tab, I had to Control Alt-Delete out of the game and shut it down manually because it just did not end. And so I then went back into it. And yeah, it's garbage, man. There's nothing to this game. I don't know what they were so excited about. I'm sure people will disagree with me. And I love Spectrum games, but just not all these ones. Like, honestly, if I play Head Over Heels again, I think I'll have a good hour playing that. But these ones, especially the ones I've never played, because there's not even a nostalgia effect for me. I was like, I don't know this game. I never played it. It's garbage. I don't like it. You know, it doesn't do anything for me. Same for Pushover. At least Pushover was decent in the sense, but like all these, like the Ocean Bundle as well. It's like it's not really. Like, what are they talking about? These games I've never heard of, but obviously Spectrum user has heard of it because they were like, "Oh, it's the best thing ever. You should lock yourself in a dungeon for 2 weeks."
That was before they had to say if they were a paid promotion.
That's true. Yeah. Who knows? That maybe this was like a paid promotion thing where they were given money to say good things about it, because it's just, I get it. It's a little bit innovative where it's like it's almost like a resource management thing where you can, but I don't know. I couldn't seem to affect anything. Like giving people items didn't seem to do anything. Yeah. Just look at this video that's playing right now. It's just me walking around in circles.
Perfect. So 3 tags.
I guess it's an adventure game.
Okay.
Not a very fun adventure, but it's an adventure game. Adventure, retro, I suppose would be. I mean, it's not really retro. Retro means something that's made now to look old, doesn't it? Is that the definition of retro?
Perhaps, or it's a retro look at something. So.
Well, old school then. Old school.
There you go.
Old school adventure.
Well, not chip music, obviously, because there isn't any.
Yeah, musicless, and Darren should get his shit together. Make proper notes. I can't believe I read the wrong page. What an idiot. Part of it. Bad Port.
Okay. Would you recommend it to me?
No, you would hate this. Definitely, you would hate this. I think I put you through enough with The Great Escape. You would definitely, at least in The Great Escape, you had some kind of routine going on, where it was like a bell rings and this happens, and then there was you kind of knew what was happening in the game. It did have a story. This is just like, all right, here you are. There's a big square of land for you to explore, where nothing really happens. All right, bye. And then the developer just checks out, and that's it.
Would you recommend this to anyone?
No, I wouldn't. Even for like, I mean, if you
would you recommend it to Spectrum user? I
was going to say, if you played this game as a Spectrum or a Commodore player and you liked it, then yeah. So that's a very niche market. Like, are you 40 years old? Check. Did you own this game? Yes. Then maybe you would like to play this game again to relive that. Okay. But if you're like me, who checks 2 of those boxes, but not the final one, like I never owned this game, this was not fun to play, and it did not have any significant value for me at all. So, nope.
Are you planning to play this again?
It's already deleted. Already gone.
Oh, you could reinstall it. It's a very small game. Wouldn't take long.
Yeah, it's probably another 2 megabyte game like Great Escape, I think. No plans to rush back into this at any point, Justin.
And would this be a buyer's remorse or buyer's confirmation?
Even though it was only part of 1 out of like 10 games in that bundle, yeah, that's definitely a remorse. It's not even worth free.
Buyer's remorse.